Sometimes it looks brighter or sometimes it looks much darker. So I don't know, but we're going around here. As you see, there's a deer crossing sign, so let's hope we don't experience any deer. But yeah, this is low beams. And once we get on a straightaway, I will turn the fog lights off to show y'all, how much the fog lights do. Maybe you necessarily don't have a Silverado air pass in the car. Maybe you don't have a Silverado, but you just are thinking about putting headlight tint on your vehicle and you want to see. But I'm assuming you have a truck just like mine and you're thinking about putting it on there. So obviously you can just go drive and see how your headlights look. Maybe film it yourself, compare them video to video. If you have an iPhone, then it should be pretty directly relatable. There's high beams on just for this hill. Go back to low. So we'll cut the fog lights off. Okay, that's fog lights off, fog lights on. We get over this hill. See about high beams. I want to blind that car up there, so alright. So I can see all the way up there to that hill. High beams, obviously you want to have them adjusted correctly. I have a video on the channel. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to see how to adjust your headlights. Back to low beams, car about to come over the hill. And they're on brights, thank you. So this right here is pretty much my eye level, exactly what I see. We'll turn headlights off, just fog lights. So fog lights are still very bright, obviously. So, yeah, I know this is a big question because obviously a lot of people think it looks awesome, but you don't want to, hinder your headlights too much because that's kind of important. It definitely does take away some of the super brightness that they have from the factory, which does kind of suck, but it also kind of eliminates people bright lighting you because even if you have your headlights adjusted, the headlights on these trucks are so bright that people still do kind of try to bright light you sometimes. So, yeah. All right, we're going to turn off this road up here in a little bit onto a little back road, and I'll catch up with y'all there. All right, I'm stopped here in the road, a good location, and so that's low beams with fog lights. That's high beams, and like I said, I don't know how good it'll come through on camera. I can see that sign all the way up there. There's this. There's just fog lights. Fog lights off. Headlights. And high beam. So I think you can still see really good. One thing to do is turn all these lights on all the way down. I think they're all the way down. Yeah, they are. So see, they can get super bright and it kind of makes things kind of hard to see. So not necessarily hard to see, but it's easier to see when you have that turned down. So that's one big thing, especially with the screen, because it's a big screen, it does put off quite a bit of light. So you can definitely still see. I had several people comment on the video of the headlights saying how stupid that was. That I even had one guy saying he hopes a deer runs out in front of me, which I'm glad you like wishing death or pain or death, destruction of a vehicle on someone just because you're triggered by someone putting headlight tint on. I don't know if you just have a 30-year-old truck and the headlights are garbage from the factory. The headlights on these trucks are extremely bright from the factory, so a little bit of headlight tint does not make them useless by any means. So high beams I can see way far away. Like I said, it is a noticeable difference, but you can still completely see to drive. It does take some of that super brightness off, which kind of does suck because it's got a cool look to it, and you can see just literally everything. It's crazy. I drove the Mustang the other day, and I was kind of surprised at how bright those were, being used to driving them with this. But I think it's worth it. I really do like the headlight tint look during the day, and with the time changing, getting off work and stuff will be during daylight. So, unless you're going out at nighttime, you really won't even need it. It won't be something So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get home and I'll get out of the truck and show you all outside view of everything, and yeah, just compare this to your headlights that you have on your truck right now, and you know, go from there. If you want it, get it. If you don't. So one thing I did want to mention where the lights absolutely are pretty badly affected by the tint is when it's about dusk. You know, that awkward time where it's not quite dark enough for the headlights to really work, but it's too dark to not have headlights, so it's a little hard to see right there before, you know, there's like that fine line of, you know, a couple minutes or 10 minutes or however it is before it gets dark enough to where the headlights are, you know, crucial. But it just is a little bit of a strain where before, with the factory headlights, they are so overly bright that even when it was that time of the day, right before dark, you still could see the headlights pretty strongly. Whereas now, it truly does need to be pretty, you know, it needs to be dark, plain and simple. It needs to be dark for the headlights to really be usable. And so that's one time it's kind of difficult to see. I mean, it's obviously drivable. It's not unsafe, or I would take it off already, but it is where you can notice it the most, right there before it's fully dark, where your headlights are not as bright as they used to be. Obviously, these headlights with tint on them are way brighter than a lot of vehicles you see on the road, stock vehicles, you know, older ones with halogens and stuff like our F-150. Its stock headlights are way worse than this. You know, they're just 90s model halogen headlights. They're nowhere near as bright as this. So it's definitely not something that is just like, oh, these are just, they're ruined. These are just too dark to drive with. It's not that by any means. This is plenty brighter than a lot of vehicles that are still on the road. The thing I did want to mention is I do not have windshield tint. I've had several people ask me because in certain lighting or pictures or whatever, it looks like I might, but I do not have windshield tint. So, yeah, if you have windshield tint, I probably would not recommend tinting headlights. I had windshield tint on my old Mustang and it had HIDs, and it did dramatically affect it. It actually just made me sleepy. Some people are unaffected by headlight tint. It doesn't bother them at all. Windshield tint. But when I had windshield tint, I had 35%, and it kind of just made me sleepy sometimes, so I took it off. But yeah, if you have windshield tint, probably would not mix headlight tint with that, because that would be that would probably be unsafe. All right, so here is outside the truck, the headlights. So fog lights, you know, probably honestly aim them up a little bit, but I guess you want it right there in front. But you can still see plenty far. They don't have the nasty halogen look. I guess the headlights have a slightly more yellow look than they did. Obviously, they were extremely bright, like bluish white from the factory, but it doesn't make them gross to look at. You know, that might not matter to some people, but it kind of just drives me nuts when you got a nice factory looking headlight and then it's got the gross halogen looking. So yeah, this is them. Still plenty bright. So I'll hit the high beams and show y'all what that's all about. So you can see all the way up there to the house now. So still bright as can be. I'll hit the rock lights for y'all. No, I need to make a separate video on the rock lights showing how I installed them and everything, so I had a lot of people ask about that. But just have me a little switch right here, and that turns on the rock lights. So I need to add a couple more to kill these shadows, because some people, you know, the shadows don't really bother me, but some people are triggered when you have shadows, like you cheaped out or something, which I guess I did. They're Amazon specials, but I'll do a full video explaining them, how they've held up and everything like that. But so it's pretty sweet when you're rolling down the road looking like this. But this is pretty much going to be it, y'all. Not really anything else to talk about. If you want the headlights, then get them. If you think it hinders the performance of the headlights too much, then don't get them.